So let's talk about point slope today. And let's practice getting our point slope into slope-intercept form. Okay? So as a reminder, our equation is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1, where y sub 1 and x sub 1 are going to be substituted into from our ordered pair, and m is our slope. Okay, here are a few little note to self points. On the calculator, your fraction place is alpha y equals, okay, because you may need to switch some decimals around to fractions, because slope is not a decimal. You can work with decimals, okay, but you cannot leave your equation with slope as a decimal, because remember, it is rise over run. Now you can leave it as a whole number, obviously, but not a decimal. And where m equals 0, we have a horizontal line. Also, if m equals a number, let's say 1 over 0, so if m has a denominator of 0, this is an undefined slope, because you cannot divide by 0. So just keep that in mind as we go forward. Okay, so the directions are write an equation and simplify into slope-intercept form. So here's our first situation. I know what the slope is, and I have an ordered pair. And what we're going to do is label that ordered pair always. X is always first, and then y, so it's x sub 1, y sub 1. Okay? And our slope here is 3.5. Like I said, we can work with decimals, but when we're done, we have to change them over. So here is our equation, where I have highlighted where everything goes. The slope is the m, the x sub 1 is inside the parentheses, and the y sub 1 is to the left of the equal sign. And when we substitute those numbers in, this is what we get. Y minus 2, here's my y sub 1, equals the slope times x minus negative 3. Minus negative makes it a plus. Okay? And then, of course, since we have parentheses, we're going to distribute, and we wind up with 3.5x plus 10.5. And my minus 2 has to go away, because remember, we're solving for y. So I'm going to add that to the opposite side. And once I do that, this is what I get. If I'm working with a decimal, that's fine, but my final answer must be changed to a fraction. Okay? So this is what we're doing today, is taking a point and a slope and creating slope-intercept form from that. Okay, number 2, if my slope is 0 and my ordered pair is, and I always label it, -2, -1, okay, we can graph that from slope-intercept form. We just have to switch it over using point slope. Again, I've highlighted here where all of the numbers go. Okay, so when we substitute that in, we get y minus -1, minus a negative is plus, equals the slope times x plus 2. Now 0 times anything is 0, so we wind up with y plus 1 equals 0, and then just subtract the 1, and you get y equals -1. Now I have a horizontal line here because my slope is 0. Therefore, it only intersects the y-axis. Okay? So this would be my coordinate plane, and where my point is, it'd be -2, -1, but it would only go through this y-axis. Okay? It's only going to intersect that y-axis. Okay, so keep that in mind. So that is how point slope works. That's the process we go through to Substitute the numbers in. Remember, only for y sub 1 and x sub 1, my x and my y refer to the axes. We leave those alone. Okay? So let's turn over to our second page and see what that's about. Okay. So when you're not given the slope, or the m, then we've got to find it first. We can't put it in, we can't sub in our numbers, okay, and work our equation if we don't have the slope. So in our first example here, we have 2 points, 2, 1, and 3, 4. I need the slope. So if you look back on your notes from Monday, I told you what that slope formula is. So m equals, right? M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So this is why we're always going to label your, now this ordered pair is written first, so I label it as 1s. So this is x sub 1, y sub 1, and then my second ordered pair, x sub 2, y sub 2. And then I substitute that in. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1, 4 minus 1, over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, 3 minus 2, sorry. And then I get 3 over 1, and we can use the whole number here as 3. So here's our formula, our point slope that we're going to use here. And we're going to substitute our numbers in. Okay, and I wrote slope as a whole number of 3, of course. As I substituted things in, okay, here's my slope, right? Here's my slope. Here is my y sub 1. Here is my x sub 1. Okay, use that ordered pair. Okay, just sub 1s there. And then we get our answer, which is y equals 3x minus 5. The only difference here is we are using the slope formula because we have to find the slope first. First ordered pair, x sub 1, y sub 1. Second ordered pair, x sub 2, y sub 2. We're going to find our slope. In this case, our slope is 0, so again, we have another, what kind of line? Horizontal. It only intersects that y-axis. Now, here's one that's different. And there's a typo on your page, so we do need to fix that, please. And because this can be nothing but 0 if it's an intercept. So keep that in mind. So I apologize for the typo, but that should be a 0. And the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to find that slope. So m equals x sub 2 minus y. Sorry, I was writing the right thing, saying the wrong thing. Y sub 2, next to the 2 right there, let's fix that, minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So my slope is 2 over negative 1. Slope is negative 2. Okay? So that's where we are there. So that's my slope. Okay? Now, I don't have to use point slope in this case because I know what the b is. What's the b? That is exactly right. The y-intercept is my b. So I can use y equals mx plus b. I still have to solve for slope. But I can fill this out right here. Y equals the slope. And what is the y-intercept? Positive 2. And that is all I need to do for there. Okay? So if you know the intercept, if you know the b, all you got to do is find the slope. All right, number 8. We're going to do the same thing here. Let's always label our ordered pairs. x1, y1, x sub 2, y sub 2. All right, Here's our slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Now why did I add that? Because it's a negative. Minus a negative is plus. So I'll wind up with m equals negative 7 over 4. So this, here's my slope. So I'm ready to go. Okay? That's my slope. So, because I have the b, or the y-intercept, I can go straight to slope-intercept form. Y equals the slope minus 7. Okay? So when you got intercepts, you got kind of a little shortcut. You still got to find that slope, but I know the b. I know the y-intercept, so I can go ahead and put that on the end. Okay? Alrighty. Your homework is going to be out of your Volume 1 textbook. Okay? And it will be posted in classwork, but it's going to be a couple pages, 245 and page 255, 245, 5 through 14, and 255, 2 through 9. But that will be posted in your classwork. Alrighty, happy studying.